This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. We got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to touch on the Eagles' loss, or the loss of the Eagles, and the upcoming Sunday Night Football game against the Dolphins. Red Patriot switching his logo, rocking the red for the throwback game coming up. So that's one big thing is I'm super excited to see the red throwbacks. We got Gonzalez, we got some of the young guys, Pop Douglas, all rocking the throwbacks for the first time. And I think we only saw Mac once in them last year because he was hurt
the
game against
the first
the Lions,
game, right? Against
yeah. So, anyways, I'm here with my co-host Jace Campbell. How's it going, Jace?
Yeah, it's going good. Sorry we couldn't get on after the game on Saturday or on Sunday. At first, me and Cole were like, maybe it's a good thing we're not going to be able to get on. And then after that, we're kind of like, there's kind of a lot to talk about, and we'll kind of jump into it for this episode and then move on to the Dolphins. But it was just good to have Patriot football back on. You know, you had kind of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, really. It kind of explained Patriot football, and we'll jump into a lot of those things. But I'm excited to have another week of football, Sunday Night Football, prime time against the AFC East opponent that, right now could be the favorite to win the division. So it'll be a big game.
Yeah, it's definitely a big game. Anytime you're in the division, it's big, especially against Miami. We know we've had our struggles with them recently. I don't think we have beat Tua yet in his career, which is not great. He's a super frustrating quarterback to play against. The way he plays, it's just the ball's out of his hands before you can even think, and he has just these insane weapons that can just run after the catch for an 80-yard touchdown on any given play. So we'll dive more into that matchup, but kind of just touching on the Eagles, the game that we already have played. What were your kind of initial thoughts? How did you feel coming out of it? I know a lot of people felt differently. Some people were optimistic that we hung around with the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. I know they were a little rusty, but other people felt differently about it. And I'll let you give your take on it first.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think from where it started in the first quarter to where, we got to, it's obviously shows this team has fight. There's some offensive firepower, and this defense is really freaking good. So I was surprised at a couple of those things. But it's kind of what we talked about when you're playing a great team like the Eagles or the Dolphins this week or the Bills or someone. You can't get in holes like New England did, and you can't kill yourself. There were too many times where big plays happened. Think of the first drive, right? Ball goes over Jalen Hurts' head. We're offsides, Dietrich Wise. That play's negated. End up going down kicking a field goal. And then, what happened after that. But there were multiple times on defense, on offense, too, that you just seemed to kill yourself on plays that were like, holy crap, those are big-time plays that we could have taken advantage of. So this team had 7 penalties for 50 yards. It was 5 for 49 for the Dolphins. So it's not, or for the Eagles, it's not like it was a crazy amount, but it felt a lot more because of when they happened and the moments that they happened in that game. And I know that Bill Belichick and Bill O'Brien will be on that and be addressing that, but that was, kind of the thing that stuck out to me in that game is it's like, you made dumb penalties and, it hurt you guys.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said there. I think my biggest takeaway was this defense gives me a little bit of confidence. They played extremely well. Even last night, you saw the Eagles absolutely run the ball down the Vikings' throat, even with Brian Flores as their DC over there. So holding the Eagles to under 100 yards rushing when they had like 240 yards rushing last night against the Vikings, like that makes you feel good. That makes you feel good about this defense. They only allowed 18 points really because the pick six and all that other stuff. So, and they got screwed on field position a few times, like the fumble that Zeke had inside like the 30, 40 yard line. It's just constantly, this is the football that we've seen from the Patriots. It's shoot yourself in the foot at the worst times, commit these penalties, commit these turnovers, have your defense keep you in the game, claw back, make it close late, and fall short. This offense had 2 drives late in the game, I think starting both around like midfield.
Very good field position.
great field position, 2 chances to win the game, and you can't pull it out either time. That is, I feel like I watch the same game every weekend with the Patriots. Whenever they play anybody good, it's the same thing. It's, if we didn't make this penalty here, we'd be winning this game. If we didn't throw this pick six, if we didn't do this, if we didn't turn the ball over here, it's just dumb football. And that's just not what we're used to seeing. But ever since Brady's gone, that's been a theme for this team. They haven't played clean football. It's been a bunch of mental errors. It's been a bunch of dumb mistakes, a bunch of turnovers. Belichick has been emphasizing this since the day he was here. Win the turnover battle. And we didn't do that. And they made the plays when they needed to. We didn't. It's as simple as that. So I was initially very frustrated because it feels like the same thing. Like, I just feel like I'm watching the same Patriots game. But I am proud that they clawed their way back into it, that they didn't just roll over and give up after digging themselves in a 16-0 hole. A lot of teams might just roll over and give up. So I am happy to see that. I am happy to see the defense balling out. Demario Douglas looked good. I thought Mac looked good. I thought it's just, I don't know. I can't tell what it is about this team that makes them always fall short. I don't know if Mac isn't as clutch as we hoped. I don't know. I don't understand I don't really know what it is. I can't put a finger on it. And I'm sure we'll know by the end of the year. But I have confidence in Mac. I felt like he looked good. I felt like this Eagles defense is absolutely nasty. We saw it last night. And with 2 backup guards in, Mac was getting the ball out of his hands quick. I don't know. I felt good about Mac Jones. I felt better about him than I think some other people did, given some of the other plays that happened.
Yeah, I don't know what Mac Jones, like why people are kind of still on Mac Jones. MA Football Guy says it here. Kayshon Boudet's rookie mistake. Now, that's not the reason for the game, but he had an opportunity to have 2 big-time catches, and he doesn't get both feet in on both of them. He gets 1 foot in and then the other one. And I'm not faulting him. Like, I'm not saying that it's, going to be perfect for him game 1. He looked good. We're targeting him. He's out there. He had separation. Mac Jones hit him on that final play. He just couldn't get his feet down. I was a little surprised at how bad the running game was, and it's kind of expected with what our offensive line situation was. Mac Jones didn't get hit a lot, but I don't think it's the recipe to success for New England to throw the ball 54 times. And that's not a knock on Mac Jones. That's not a knock on Bill O'Brien. I just don't think that's the strength of this team. Now, Mac Jones looked good in my opinion. Kendrick Bourne looked like a bona fide, at least number 2 receiver. I'm not going to call him a number 1 receiver, but it makes you frustrated why he sat out all last season, because he was the best receiver on that field. We're not having Devontae Parker yet. Hopefully he goes this game. We'll have an injury update on that and stuff. And then, obviously Gesicki, Hunter Henry kind of got back to the Hunter Henry we know. So there's weapons all around the field. I don't know. The other thing is this is a really good Eagles team. I mean, we're taking nothing away. And I don't think that it's fair to say like, we just got stuffed because, Mac Jones isn't the guy. This is a good Eagles defense. This is a really good Eagles defense.
This D-line is one of the best D-lines I've ever fucking
Jalen Carter was a menace all game. All freaking game, Jalen Carter. They didn't have sacks and they didn't have quarterback hits, but they were getting in Mac Jones's face. And Mac Jones stepped up and made some good throws with pressure in his face. So, and it gets a little worrisome there when, we could have had a chance for it to be a field goal game, not having to score a touchdown and stuff. And then that changes some of your 4th down calls right there. But, they're going for a touchdown right here. And, they kind of got behind the sticks. They had a sack on Mac Jones. Really one of the only ones that he had came after they get the fumble from Jabril Peppers. He gets sacked. And so for me, it's not on Mac Jones. It's not on Bill O'Brien. It's not, this was and it almost is kind of like, you heard Nick Sirianni talk about how none of their guys played in the preseason and they looked rusty. I thought that was a little bit of the same for the Patriots. Mac Jones he only played limited snaps. And that is some of the, penalties on him. We had to delay a game. He had some of that stuff. Is some of the pre-snap stuff on him. There was one that drove me out of my mind. Like, we did not snap the ball on time. I think it went from like 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 9. It pissed me off and stuff. But, a lot of the young guys, this is their first NFL game against the defending NFC champions on one of the biggest stages in New England sports because of Tom Brady's return. There were bright lights out there, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but it looked like a team that wasn't quite ready for this big spotlight that they had on them.
Yeah, I agree. It's just I will say Mac had less reps in the preseason this year than last year, and we also canceled joint practices against the Titans because of the Isaiah Bolden situation. So
Yep.
they had less joint practices and less preseason time. That could account for a little bit of rust, but overall, until I see otherwise, this is a team that makes mistakes and isn't fundamentally sound and makes these critical errors and dumb penalties at costly times. Like at first, when Brady was gone, it was, oh, this is uncharacteristic. Like we don't see this isn't what the Patriots do. But we're 4 years removed from that now, and they're still doing the same thing all the time. So now this is the new norm for the Patriots, and it's frustrating, but they need to fix it. And I don't know what the difference is. I don't know why they were so good at this in years past, and all of a sudden one guy leaves, and now the whole team makes mistakes. That does it. It can't all be Brady. Like Brady couldn't have contributed that much. Maybe he did. I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like this team had some rust. Obviously, they started out cold. It was raining. Um, Mac made a couple not great throws that I think would have been different if it wasn't raining, but both teams are playing in the elements, so it doesn't matter. But once the rain kind of stopped, they kind of got some momentum. Defense shut the Eagles' offense down like for 4 straight 3-and-outs. They were looking really good. The offense, they looked good too. In the second quarter, they were rolling compared to the first quarter when they had nothing. And then it like flipped again in the third quarter. They had nothing. In the fourth quarter, they started rolling a little bit. So it's just like it was inconsistent. There were some penalties. The Hunter Henry holding call was a bunch of baloney. Like that was awful, and that killed momentum. They were going to be inside the 20-yard line off that Ramondre play, and instead they were back to the 35, and then they got another holding call, and then another false start or something, and they were out of field goal range. So
Yeah.
it just that killed momentum. That took points off the board for them. It was a tough call, but I don't know. It's the good news is the defense looks really good. The offense looks improved. I like some of the young guys. I like some of the weapons we have. Kendrick Bourne looked good. And more good news is these things are fixable. The things that the Patriots did to lose this football game are fixable. They're mental mistakes, they're turnovers, they're bad penalties. The bad news is this is who they've been for the past 4 years now. So I'm hoping it turns around fast. Bill O'Brien is going to be on them. I'm hoping Bill Belichick is as well. They got to get this fixed because if they do, I have a lot of confidence in this team.
Yeah, and for me, I'm sitting here looking at it, and the offense got me more excited than I was probably for most of last season. Like seeing Kendrick Bourne out there doing his thing, that touchdown to Kendrick Bourne, the first one, I should say, not the second one, the first one to Kendrick Bourne, Mac Jones starts, looks to his right, draws the safety over there, and, keeps him there, and then fires a dart. Couldn't have been placed any better than Mac Jones. And that ball is at least 30, 35 yards down the field on it. So where's all the noodle arm, no downfield threat? The other thing is, Edward, I love you, man. And I'm not saying that you're wrong here, but why the heck are we hating on Bill O'Brien? Because that passing concept was never once seen last year. So for game one, and I guarantee they didn't have all of the offensive schemes out, and they don't have all the tricks coming out of their book, but the scheme already looks different. Now, there was probably one too many screens thrown. I will admit that. There were a couple times I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that third down call reminded me so much of McDaniels.
Exactly. I was like, holy crap. I thought we got away from this. So I'm not calling it perfect, but the scheme that New England came out with this year, you saw motions, you saw bunch formations, you saw
there was a scheme.
Things. Exactly. It looked like a competent offensive scheme, and it looked like a real NFL offense was out there running it. The other thing, Matt Patricia would have never have put Kendrick Bourne out there, and he was the leading receiver and had 2 touchdowns. So, you're already seeing this, and I know there's been reports about Juju and, how the Patriots view him. He's not a wide receiver one. If all goes well, him, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker are very high-quality wide receiver twos, and you just hope that one of them, has a breakout year and, maybe they go for 1,000 yards. But between those 3, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas was the second leading receiver. Tyquan Thornton, if, he ever comes into form or whatever, plus Mike Gesicki and Hunter Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott catching passes out of the backfield. There's enough weapons on this offense for Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien to work with and look like a top 15 offense in the league. I'm not saying they're going to be top 5, but there's enough weapons to spread it around. And I think that's what Mac Jones is good at, is he is very smart. He's very decisive with the football. He's going to be able to read it. And he didn't look perfect. Obviously that pick six was one of not a great throw at all. And, I'm sure he wishes he could have it back. But when he got dialed in, I mean, man, it looked pretty. And the offense was moving and it looked really good.
My main concern as far as offense goes, outside of the things I was just talking about, the mental errors and stuff, is still this O-line. Because if this offense can do what it did to that Eagles defense while having limited play selection because they have to get the ball out of Mac's hands so quick because his D-line is unbelievable, and we had backup O-linemen in, I'm excited to see if we can get a fully healthy O-line, let them block, let them give Mac actual time, and then see what deeper schemes that O'Brien can pull out and we can see, because I'm excited. I really am. I don't know when we're going to see a healthy O-line, because we might be down 4 out of 5 starters this week, and that is not ideal. I mean, the Dolphins isn't the most elite defense in the world, but you're going up against all these backups. Anybody can win, and their D-line for Miami is one of their strong suits. So I don't know. It just doesn't make me feel super good about our chances as far as that goes. I don't know. Bill has no problem stacking the shit out of our defense, but for some reason he has a problem protecting Mac Jones and giving him any really talented weapons. And I don't know. Seeing Justin Jefferson last night, and it's just like, oh, can you imagine if we had somebody like that? Just a difference maker. He catches everything, and he's so impactful on that team. So I don't know. I have confidence that if this O-line can get healthy and can block and you can erase some of these mental errors, I think we could be a team that sneaks into the playoff, or at least is right there in the running. I really do believe that if they can clean these things up, because I mean, they were right in it with the Eagles, and if they probably would have beat the Eagles by 2 touchdowns if they didn't have their head up their ass. So that's got to give you some confidence.
Yeah, for sure. And this is an Eagles team who is still coming into form, right? They lose their offensive and defensive coordinator. So, they have new play callers on both sides of the ball. So I'm not saying that this is the Eagles Super Bowl team from last year, but I want to talk about Christian Gonzalez for a little bit, because, man, it looks like what everyone anticipated for New England and what we all wanted, why we wanted him so bad in the draft, and why we never thought he'd make it to 14, let alone 17. He was a stud. 1 PBU, 1 sack, 1 TFL, 7 total tackles, 5 solos. Huge 4th down pass breakup, which I don't know what the Eagles were thinking there. Had that sack. He looked everything as advertised, and this is what New England's always had. And I think Jonathan Jones is a good corner. Ideally, he would be a very solid number 2. I would relate it to having probably when you had Stephon Gilmore and JC Jackson. Gilmore's the lockdown number 1 guy. Then you have JC Jackson, who is a borderline superstar, and he can hold his own, and he's a good corner and stuff. But I think Christian Gonzalez is going to be a huge addition to this team this year, and probably one of our best defensive players. And he looked freaking incredible week 1 against some of the best receivers. You saw what those 2 receivers did against the Vikings last night. And I'm not going to say that they didn't get theirs against Christian Gonzalez, but he definitely held his own. And I'm surprised. I was a little surprised by that, just because that's a tough week 1 matchup.
And I think that's probably was part of the game plan was, these guys like Devontae Smith had like a 65-yard touchdown catch last night. Like, you don't want that to happen. Like, that's the one thing. If they're going to beat you underneath, death by 1,000 paper cuts. So I think Gonzalez played it right. I think he looked good for his first game. Huge test going up against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So I definitely like Christian Gonzalez a lot. I have a lot of faith in him. I can't wait to see him to continue to develop. And I think the more time he gets with Belichick, just the better he's going to be. And I mean, not to change the subject, but touching on JC Jackson, he has not looked the same since he has been gone from New England. I mean, boy, that was, I don't know. I feel like all I see is highlights of him getting burnt or torched or making a dumb penalty. It's just like, oh. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought Christian Gonzalez played really well. I thought Keon White, I thought he played really well. I think he's going to be a menace. Marte Mapu didn't play a ton of snaps, but we'll see if he gets more involved as the games go on. He was on PU, or he was in a non-contact uniform for a while. So he's probably just getting his feet wet and getting involved into things again. So we'll see what happens. But I thought a lot of the rookies looked good. I didn't think Booty played as bad as everybody thought. Like, I get it. You want him to get at least one of those catches, but
Yeah.
I just hate that the college rule is 1 foot down. You're not preparing these guys for the NFL. Like, it's his first game. He's only had to get 1 foot in forever. I don't know. He'll get used to it. The kid's talented. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was at least, because we all wanted him and Pop Douglas to be on this roster on the 53 man. So I was excited to see him out there at least get 4 targets, and 2 of them should have been catches. He's going to learn, and I guarantee the receivers coach, Bill Belichick, they're going to have him right. Like, that's a rookie mistake. He made it twice in one game, really critical situations. He's going to have that right. And, I don't worry about that at all. I'm just excited that he's out there. But looking at the target chart, we talked about the running backs and how kind of disappointing they were. You have 6 receptions from Ramondre, 5 from Ezekiel Elliott. I think this is kind of what the Patriots are going to incorporate with their running backs. And Ty Montgomery had 2 also. So you have, 13 targets right there between those 3 guys of Mac Jones's 35 receptions. So you have a lot of running backs and I think our running game is going to be better. Now, obviously, it's dependent on what our offensive line looks like this week, in the next couple of weeks, but you have a lot of running backs that are going to be able to get involved in the passing game. And I think that's another one of Mac's strengths is he's not afraid to take what's given to him. If they're going to give you a 5-yard check down, he's going to take the 5-yard check down. And with Zeke and Ramondre Stevenson, they have the ability to make a guy miss and make it into a 20-yard check down. So I was a little happy to see the running backs get involved in here. Maybe a little less screen passes, but I'm excited to see that at least the running backs are getting involved in the passing game, and not just the running game, because the running game was atrocious.
Yeah, the running game was not good at all. It felt like every time Ramondre got it, it was 2 yards or less.
Yeah.
It was going nowhere. And I get it. Their D-line is great, but boy. I mean, Madison looked horrible last night.
Yeah.
Their running game was bad as well. So I don't know. I think it's just their defensive line is really good, and their defense is really good in general. But we just touched on Keon White. Mike Gesicki wasn't as involved as I thought, but he made a couple nice plays. It was good to see him try to bring some energy when they were down. Juju, I'm a little bit worried about Juju. There's a report that came out today that people in the Patriots building don't even think he's in their top 5 for best receivers. And he was signed to be our number 1. That is terrifying. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's still injury related. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't know if it's encouraging that Booty and Douglas were playing over him on the last drive, or if it's discouraging that Juju is not who we thought he was going to be. But I don't know. Outside of that, I thought Zeke looked pretty decent. Obviously, the fumble, that's uncharacteristic for him. He didn't fumble at all last year in Dallas, so I think he'll be fine with that. I'm not worried about that. But Gesicki, I think he'll be good. Keon, I like what I've seen so far. And Juju, I'm a little bit worried, to be honest.
Yeah, Gesicki will get more involved for sure. I'm not worried about that. He had 3 catches on all 3 targets for 36 yards, 17 as the long one. So he will get more. He will get more involved. And the Juju thing, I'm going to give it 5 or 6 more weeks and see, what playing time looks like then, because this is another guy who didn't get a ton of preseason snaps also. And, we kind of heard that in training camp, he was, a top target for Mac and kind of balling and stuff. And now we're hearing this report. I'm going to chill on it for 6 weeks. I'm not saying that it's not concerning, because I think it is, because if you didn't view him as that number 1 receiver, why'd you go give him the same money as Jacoby Myers? Because Jacoby Myers last week had 2 touchdowns. And I'm not saying that's going to happen every week, but
9 catches, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Josh McDaniels knew how to use that guy, and he's a solid weapon. So,
and also I will say really quick, just to touch on, like, the contract numbers look the same, but if Juju plays like crap and doesn't play a lot, he's not going to get nearly the same money. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Yeah, no, the incentives and stuff, but for me, I'd rather pay Jacoby Myers what he's getting paid there to have his type of production than have a guy that you view as the 5th wide receiver kind of have that. So anyways, I'm not going to freak on it right now. I'll give it 6 weeks. Then again, I think that Demario Douglas is going to be that good. So Is he eventually going to get passed up? Yeah, I don't want him to. I'd like both of these guys to have a role in this offense, but if Demario Douglas is that good and we got him in the 6th round, I'm going to end up being fine with it. But yeah, you never want to kind of hear those reports. So but
especially for a guy they paid as their number 1, like that's a tough look.
Yeah. So Red Patriot gives Christian Gonzalez the nickname Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, he's I mean, they call him the silent assassin. You kind of heard what Adrian Phillips said about him. He said maybe 3 words all game. So he just goes out there and kind of does his thing, and he's got that silent swagger to him. So anything else about the Eagles game before we jump into the Dolphins preview?
No, I mean, I just one thing, I guess. I liked that they were more aggressive on 4th down. We've been calling for that for a while. I thought that on that 4th and 3, they were going to kick a field goal. I felt like they should have done that in the moment. I said that beforehand, and then they went for it, and I was like, okay, well, all right. They're being more aggressive, and I thought they should have punted on the 4th and 17. That was kind of ridiculous, but I do like that they're being more aggressive. Hopefully that means they have more confidence in the offense and not that they have a lack of confidence in Chad Ryland. But Bryce Baringer looked good as well. I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move on. Let's kind of start with an injury report. Do you have that pulled up? I know we got a new updated injury report. I kind of have it looking at it too. The only 2 that did not practice, and if you know anything other than me, I'm just looking at New England's website. Trent Brown, Sidney Sal, which were both starters last week, both did not practice with concussions. Now they've missed 3 practices. So
also John Jones didn't practice today.
Oh yeah, John Jones did not practice. Yep, you're right. Sorry. So he's the one that now Jonathan Jones got in a limited practice Thursday. It is a little more concerning that he's missing practice Friday. I'm really concerned about Trent Brown, Sidney Sal, because that's 2 guys that started last week. One of them probably shouldn't even have started with Michael Winu and Cole Strange being healthy, but I don't know what that's going to be. Now, what do you think is the outlook for Michael Winu and Cole Strange? Do you think they're looking like they're going to play because they've gotten in limited practices all week?
I mean, it was the same last week though, too, wasn't it? Because I thought they were going to play last week. Yeah. So I honestly have no idea. Belichick gave a really insightful answer, and he said, I assume they'll play at some point. So that really gives us a clear
week
timeline.
17.
Yeah, exactly. So I would hope they play. If they don't, it's going to be a really ugly game. I think there's no chance Trent Brown plays. I saw a thing that everybody who was in concussion protocol didn't play a game last season, like didn't play that game that week last year when they were in that. So
it's very hard to clear concussion protocol in 6 days. Very, very hard.
Yeah. Especially if you don't practice at all during the week, trying to clear it by Sunday. I think there's 0 chance that he plays. So you really, really hope Mike Onwenu and Cole Strange are good to go, because otherwise it is going to be patchwork on that O-line against a good defensive line. They have a good defensive interior with Christian Wilkins and Jalen Phillips on the outside, and they got some good linebackers, and it's just I don't love that. So I don't know. It's good to know that David Andrews is good to go. He's off the injury report. That was one good thing, but you really got to hope those 2 guards end up playing, because it could be ugly.
Yeah, looking at the injury report right here, and I know David Andrews got cleared, but you have kind of a I don't want to call it a sketchy, but you have a concerning offensive line that's probably the biggest question on offense right now. First off, your 2 starting guards don't start last week, and they're on the injury report again. David Andrews gets taken off, so that's a good sign. But Trent Brown and Sidney Sal, who started last week, and Trent Brown's supposed to be, arguably one of your strongest offensive linemen. He's been disappointing for the Patriots, but he's supposed to be that guy. Hasn't been that guy for a while. And then, a rookie who showed promise that, filled in for another injured guy. So you're talking about a position that's already kind of up in air for me, at least. And I know you have the same worries. And now you're talking about 5 guys and 4 of them interior. And you're like, oh gosh, this could be very scary. Hopefully they get healthy soon, because that's the one thing for Mac Jones is, he took hits last year and he got hurt, and you don't want to see that again. And well, maybe the Zappy fans do, but I don't want to see that again.
I don't either. So I'm definitely concerned about that. That's going to be the biggest thing I'm going to be looking at. But also, John Jones, that injury is huge, especially this week. Nobody on this Patriots team has had more success against Tyreek Hill than Jonathan Jones. He has been great in comparison to a lot of other players in the league against Tyreek. Not having John Jones, that's going to make it tough. You're going to have to put even more attention on Tyreek, and that's probably will open things up for Jalen Waddle and some of the other guys that they got over there. It's just that two-headed monster right there, Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. You need as many speedy guys as you can get. And it's not like it's a shoulder injury, it's an ankle, which we don't know how much mobility he'll have, how much of his normal speed and athleticism. So that's tough. It's certainly not ideal. I feel like you want to be able to start the season with everybody healthy, ready to go. And week 1, slap in the face. Oh, you're out your 2 starting interior linemen. Week 2, oh, your corner that you need desperately to go up against Tyreek Hill. Yeah, he might be gone too. Oh, and your tackle and another guard. Yeah, they were gone too. So it's like, oh my goodness, it just feels like a slap in the face. These first 2 weeks, you can't get everybody healthy and see what this team actually is, because at this point, it's been Band-Aids on the O-line for a week or 2 now, and then your best corner currently going up against a guy he's had success against. It's tough. So you really hope that he can turn it around. Maybe they were just playing it safe and wanted to give him a maintenance day and really get him some treatment so he can play. But I don't know. It doesn't look good seeing how he's trending the wrong direction and not playing, not participating in practice. I mean,
Yeah, that's got to be the biggest concern, because Tyreek Hill, he said he's going to go off for 2,000 yards. At this point, I kind of believe he's going to, because
this week
he might get the other 1,800 he needs this week.
if John Jones doesn't play, it's possible.
No, but like, honestly, like the scheme that Mike McDaniel was doing with him, all the motions and stuff, he's pretty much playing Canadian football. You kind of heard people saying that. He's running full speed and almost tilting, which you can't fully run upfield before the snap, but they give you, it's kind of like what the Chiefs were getting away with on the first Thursday night football, how Jawan Taylor's so far off the ball. They're going to give you a little bit of, slack on that. So they're kind of bending the rules and getting away with it a little, but it's going to be hard to stop them. And, Jack Jones isn't there. Now, if Jonathan Jones isn't there, what, you got Miles Bryant, Marcus Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Miles Bryant?
If the season rests on Miles Bryant's shoulders, then we might as well pack it up, folks.
Or are you going to play 5 safeties? You're going to put all safeties on the field, and it's just all of a sudden the corner
on Tyreek.
Just let him hit him, bro. Just let him hit him. But you're looking at a defensive cornerback or secondary that was looking very, very strong, and the safety still look good. But now you're down 2 of your top 3 corners probably, and yeah, you're going up against probably the best. You definitely went up against one of the best receiving cores last week, and now you're probably going up against the best receiving core this week. So, yeah, good luck with that one. That's also scary. And that, I think that's got to be the key to the game. What does Bill do? How unique is he in guarding these guys, and stopping them? And then, the Dolphins gave up a ton of rushing yards last week against the Chargers. Now, we don't have an Austin Eckler, and our offensive line is nowhere near as good as what the Chargers is, especially if we're dealing with injuries. But you got to get the run game going, because as much as I believe in Mac Jones, I don't think you can rely on him throwing it 54 times a game and winning. That's just, like I said before, it's not the Patriots' strong suit.
You can't be that one-dimensional.
Can't.
You can't. It's
unless you have Tyreek Hill. Because then
it does not matter. But I think it's going to be interesting to watch. I think this is a big game for Bill as well, because Tua has torched this defense every game he's played against us. And it's not like he's doing anything crazy. It's the RPO game and the quick game and run after the catch for these receivers. And he just moves down the field, and it looks like with ease. And it's like he's not doing anything crazy. He's just throwing it 3 yards every time, and they're getting 9 out of it. And it's just the same shit over and over again. It's like, it's the most infuriating player to play against, because I don't know. Everybody thinks Tua is this spectacular player, and Tua is all full of himself now because he threw for 460 yards, and he thinks he's the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread. But honestly, I would rather have Mac Jones than Tua. And maybe I'm a little biased, but I saw something that Tom Curran was talking about the other day. He's like, these guys are the same person. Like, Mac Jones had better stats at Alabama. Maybe Tua's a little bit more athletic, but it's not really a crazy difference. Tua gets hit by an eggshell and he cracks. I don't know. I trust Mac to be healthier. I think he can read a defense better. I think Tua does some things better than Mac as well, but I just think if you flip the situations for these two, Tua's probably got a broken leg by week 3, and Mac is on the road to a top 10, top 8 quarterback finish this season. Like, I don't know. I think Mac has been so screwed over, and I think Tua has the easiest situation ever. I know his O-line's not great, but having Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, I mean, what more do you need?
If you put just Tyreek on this Patriots team, Mac Jones would be a top 8 quarterback in the league. Plus, if you gave him an offensive, and I'm taking nothing away from Bill O'Brien because I think he's a great offensive coordinator, but if you put Mike McDaniel on this as the offensive play caller too, you have a top, 8 offense also. So I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Tua. We obviously got to give him his credit, but I agree with you. It's not Tua that scares me. Tua doesn't scare me on the Dolphins. No. It's Tyreek Hill. It's Jalen Waddle. It's the dynamic of what they bring and how good Mike McDaniel is. It's not Tua. Tua does not scare me.
As opposed to Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, those guys scare me.
No, yeah, for sure.
Tua does not. And like MA Football Guy says, this is a great point. The Bama receivers all preferred Mac over Tua. That's what they said. So let the guys who played with both of them speak for themselves. And I don't know. I don't think Tua is the player that everybody thinks he is. I think if Mac Jones was drafted by the 49ers 3rd overall, he would have won a Super Bowl already.
Probably.
I really believe that. And he'd be considered a top 8 quarterback consensus by everybody. I really believe that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get in. Do you have anything more on the game preview, or do you want to kind of get into our picks and stuff like that with Underdog?
I just think, like you said, just being able to run the football. Hopefully the O-line is healthier than it looks like it's going to be, and Mac can get some time, and we can kind of see what the scheme is. This Miami defense has talent, but they're not as good as they should be. Vic Fangio is their DC now, so they should be improving this year. I'm excited to see what our offense can do, and I'm hoping our defense can shut this offense down a little bit because they got some weapons, and I'm tired of seeing Tua do the same thing every game against us, and us still not be able to pull it out. So just don't turn the ball over a bunch. Don't make a bunch of mental errors. Win the turnover battle. Play a clean game. Maybe not penalty free, but closer to it, and don't make the mistakes in the key situations. You got to win the key moments of the game at the end of the day. And that's what they haven't done. That's why they haven't been able to win enough football games to be a real contender. So I'm looking for this team to win a close one instead of keep falling short. It just feels like we always are playing from behind. I just want to be able to get a lead, establish a run, and feel like we control a game for once, because it never really felt like we were going to win that game against the Eagles the other day.
Yeah, no. And then the other thing for me is you're sitting at 0-1 on a game that you should have won. Now, I'm not calling this a must-win game, but after this, you have a very winnable game that we didn't think would be. It was looking a lot tougher 5 days ago, right? And I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but you hate to see what happened to them because the Jets fans were looking forward to that, and I know Aaron Rodgers kind of used it as a rebirth. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm like sad, but I feel bad for him because
that's
the AFC East. It's tough, right?
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for Jets fans.
That's true. I feel bad for Aaron Rodgers.
For Rodgers. Yeah.
Yes. That sucks. And at 39, and today he says he's going to come back. But anyways, my point is, you lose a close one. You need to go win this one at home. Then you go win again at another AFC East opponent. All of a sudden, you're 2-1 going into the Cowboys game, and the Cowboys have looked really good. Now, one game against the Giants, but we'll see. That defense looks very, very good. So if you're going into the Dallas game 2-1, I'm feeling really good at where we're at. I remember both of us said this before the season. If you come out of the first 4 games 2-2, that's probably best case scenario. 3-1, you're like, oh wow, this team's a lot better than what we thought of. But if you're coming out 2-2 of these next 3 games, 2-1 out of these next 3 games, you're looking really good. And for me, it makes more sense to try to win one at home on Sunday Night Football in the red throwback uniforms than going on the road 2 times against some opponents like that. So I'm looking at this one as, kind of a big game early in the season for this team to kind of get some confidence going into the later halves of this season.
Yeah, and with the Jets injury situation, 2-2 is more feasible now. So
Yes.
you really gotta take advantage of that. You can't lose these gimmies. I know we've had success against the Jets. They're a really talented team. Their defense is legit. We'll see how Zach Wilson improves with Aaron Rodgers kind of showing him the ropes. But uh, that Cowboys defense is disgusting, especially if our O line is still in shambles. That's scary. Micah Parsons is a freak. I heard that he has been practicing getting triple teamed in practice this week.
I read that
preparing
too.
for the Jets. That is awesome. So yeah, I don't know. It's a big game this week. Every week feels like a big game, but you gotta change the narrative against the Dolphins. You can't have this new Miami regime keep owning you and losing to them over and over again when Tua is at the helm. So just steal one on Sunday Night Football, win a big game, make a statement, make us feel better about this football team because I feel like they have potential, but they haven't grasped onto it quite yet, and they haven't really ran with it.
No, for sure. So we're going to run an ad by Underdog Fantasy real quick, and then we're going to get into some game picks presented by Underdog Fantasy, weekly parlays and stuff like that, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. So thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this podcast, as always, and use our code at checkout and get your first deposit matched. Real quick, guys, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog's NFL Pick'em, they make it super easy to win big on any given night. They have individual player props or daily fantasy and are legal in 41 of the 50 states. Right now, they are doubling your first deposit up to $100 when you use code PATSDRIVE or use the link in the description. All you have to do is select higher or lower and submit your wager for as low as $1 to win anywhere from 3 times to 20 times your money. You can also compete against thousands in Underdog Fantasy's daily fantasy tournaments ranging anywhere from football to baseball to basketball. Whatever sport it is, there's a tournament for you. Now with Underdog's Pick'em Insurance, you can still win money even if one of your picks does not hit. So head over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog app. Make sure to use code PATCHDRIVE or use the link in our description to get started today. Yeah, thanks to Underdog Fantasy, guys. If you guys are into some of that stuff, you can do daily fantasy, weekly fantasy. We're going to bring you some picks right here if you want to try to win some money with us. But your first deposit up to $100 is matched. It's on the App Store, or you can go online, and it's legal in 41 of the 50 states. So go ahead, give that a try. Support the channel. We appreciate everything like that. I think Cole's won a lot more money than I have. He's a little better than me. So maybe follow his pick this week and not mine.
It's a new year. It's a new year.
Hopefully. So let's get into some of those though, and then we'll get into the actual like Patriots game pick and stuff. But let's start off, Cole, with your kind of slate right here. They are running a promo. They're doing Joe Burrow over under half a yard total.
That's a promo. That's not from last week's performance.
No, that would be Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, too soon. No, now I was just gonna say this is pretty doable as long as he doesn't pull Aaron Rodgers, right? So, but anyways, if you guys want to get in on this, it's a free bet right here, right? It just makes it that much easier to hit on a parlay and 6 times, 20 times, 10 times your money. Anyways, Cole, start us off. Obviously, you're taking the higher on Joe Burrow. Explain some of the other picks.
Yeah, Travis Etienne. I think the dude's full of talent. I think a lot of people thought that Tank Bigsby would be more of a factor for this team. I think it's going to be Etienne's backfield, at least starting off. Maybe it gets more split as time goes on throughout the season, but Etienne's super talented. They're going to be going against the Chiefs. He's going to have a chance for more receptions, and I like over for 12.5 or 12.65 fantasy points. Ramondre, he just always seems to have over 3.5 catches, especially against Miami. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to get those receptions, and then I'm hoping that Jason Sanders has over 1.5 field goals, meaning they don't score touchdowns. They're kicking field goals. I think Miami's going to be able to drive the ball down the field, but I'm hoping that the New England defense can hold them to field goals and we can get touchdowns on offense. So that's a few of my picks there. But I mean, you can just do 2 parlayed together. You can do Joe Burrow and another one you feel confident about. You don't have to follow ours if you don't want, but they're giving you a free correct pick right there for over half a yard for Joe Burrow. So go sign up, get some money from the offers they're giving you guys, because it's free basically.
Yeah, seriously, you guys can deposit $5 and get $5 match. You can put in a $10 bet and you could win up to 20 times your money if you do 5 times or 5 parlay picks and you hit on all of them. So That would be huge. But I'm gonna go obviously Joe Burrow higher. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs over 38.5 rushing yards. Now, last week, this dude was explosive, and they're still going to work him in, I believe, but they've been saying all preseason and even this week that they're going to get him more and more involved. And this dude's is as explosive as they come. I know the Patriots were interested in him. I don't know if that was because of Bill O'Brien coming in, but I'm going to take him over 38.5 rushing yards. I'm going to stick on the rushing side. I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson over 50.5 rushing yards. And this one's a little bit risky because of our offensive line situation. But I don't think Ramondre is going to ever have as bad of a game as he did week 1. And I don't think he's ever going to play defensive line as bad or as good as he did week 1. So I'm going to go and say that he's going to have a bounce back week. We all know he's very elusive. He's just got to break a couple tackles and have one long run. And he's got this pretty much in the bag. And the Dolphins gave up over 300, or sorry, I think it was like 266 or something rushing last week, somewhere in that range to Austin Eckler. So, and I'm going to stick with some sort of Patriot ties, Jimmy Garoppolo, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going lower. They're playing Buffalo. Buffalo kind of had an embarrassing loss to the Jets, and maybe Zach Wilson's better than we thought. I'm going to go with Buffalo kind of having a bounce back week. This is also in Buffalo, tough place to play. I'm going to go Jimmy Garoppolo under 233.5 passing yards. So that's kind of my slate right there. Stick with some rushing totals and some stuff like that, but you know, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we don't hit on all of them except the Joe Burrow one. I think that one's pretty much a lock for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope we get that one right. That seems like a gimme.
Yeah. So let's jump into some game picks. Do you know the line? I forgot to pull this up.
3.5 Patriots are
dogs,
underdogs. Yeah.
Okay. What were we?
It has shifted. I
think it was 4.
Yeah.
I want to say it was right around 4 too. So, I'm just pulling this up so I can, do the spread, all that stuff for you guys. Yeah, it has been shifted over. Let's start with the over under. You got an offense who scored a ton of points last week and put up a ton of yards. And then you have one that's looking to be better. Over under set at 46.5 points. I remember last week, I think it was right around like 44 or 45 because I took the under. Do you think that this game, Sunday Night Football, hits over 46.5 points?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll be close, but I do think it's going to be just over. I'm worried about John Jones being out. I think that gives Miami an advantage points wise. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, talented. If our O-line is healthy and John Jones is missing, yeah, I know Trent Brown's most likely out, but if the rest of the O-line is healthy, I think we might be able to run the ball and score some points. And I think they're going to be able to score some points if we're missing John Jones. So I do think it's going to be over. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. That's a relatively low over-under line, but I do think that it is going to be over.
Yeah, I agree with you. Over. I thought I picked the under last week because, one, they're two really good defenses, and two, it's week 1. This week, you saw a Dolphins offense who looked like they were, mid-season form week 1. And you saw a Patriots offense who looked improved. So for me, I think the Patriots have to score close to 30 points to win this game. I don't think you're going to be able to hold them to, 20 or something and win 23-20 or whatever. So I think it has to go over this. And I think New England has to be in the 30s, 28, 30, 31 range to win this game because, they're going to put up points. The Dolphins are going to put up points, especially like you mentioned with that John Jones injury. There's going to be some times where, they're probably going to get the Patriots and, it's how the Patriots respond. I think this defense without Jalen Ramsey definitely has weaknesses. And this Patriots offense has to keep the momentum they have last week, get some more guys involved, hopefully have a better improved running game. And then I think that this is, easy to get, in the 30-point range for the Patriots. So I'll agree with you. I think it's over 46.5 points for the Patriots Dolphins over under. So, Let's pick on the spread now. You said it was at 3.5 Patriots Dogs Sunday Night Football in Foxborough. What do you got?
So do you want me to say my score prediction as well, or just the?
Yeah, say your score. Yeah, go ahead and say your score prediction, and then
I have it I have it close to that line. I have the Dolphins winning 27-23. So 4-point game, just Patriots just barely not covering. I'm concerned about the health of this O-line. And like I just said, the John Jones thing. It's just I feel like it's going to be tough to score if your O-line is that thin and you're missing that many guys. So I don't have a ton of confidence that they're going to score 30. If we had a fully healthy O-line and Devontae Parker was 100% and all these other guys are 100%, I feel like we could put up 30 against this defense. I feel like that's in the realm possibility, and I would feel a lot better about it. I think if this team was fully healthy, I would be picking them to win this game by a field goal. But they're not, and that's the situation we're in right now. So I have them losing by 4, 27-23.
Okay. I also have the Patriots losing. I'm going to go 31-27. The Dolphins, someone said it earlier in the chat, I should have saved it or pull it up right now. Someone was talking about how even with Brady, who did we struggle with in the AFC East? The freaking Miami Dolphins. Like,
I think they said he was 27-12 though. So I mean, that's
well,
good,
I mean, as of late,
comparatively.
right? You always went to Miami and you always lost a game when you shouldn't have, right? The Miami Miracle, beat the year he retired, you lose the number 1 seed. Anyways, and then we all know what it's been like with Tua. Now, I'm not losing faith in this Patriots. I think that they're going to have a good game, and I think this offense is going to look just as good, if not better than what they were. So I'm going to say that it's close, a lot closer than what we felt like it was against the Eagles, just because maybe they clean up the turnovers. But I agree with you. I think that with where New England's roster is right now, both offensively and defensively, and some key pieces potentially being out, it's too much to predict a win for the Patriots right here. As much as I want to, it really is just too much to say that. And, it's, if they do, we'll come on here next week and we'll be biting our tongues and excited as heck. But, it's got to be much improved from last week for the offensive line, or not the offensive line, for the offensive side of the ball, to keep the ball moving, stop shooting themselves in the foot. Because if you do that, and you're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and you're not keeping ahead of the sticks, you're gonna get behind really fast. Because I feel like the Dolphins offense can score very quickly. So far, we haven't really seen the Patriots offense score really quickly. We've seen them be more effective than what they were, but I don't know if New England has that firepower. So they got to stay ahead of the sticks, and they got to be able to, be in third and manageables, second and manageables right here, because they're not the Chiefs. They're not the Dolphins where it's 3rd and 12 and somehow they figure out how to convert it because Tyreek Hill is running wide open, or Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I certainly don't feel great when we're in 3rd and long, or especially anything further than 3rd and 10. That's not ideal. So, yeah, like you said, keep the stick short. Just establish the run game that's going to open things up in the play action game. And the fact that we were able to have that kind of offense against that great defense, even though it was inconsistent, but for periods, that offense looked really good with virtually no run game established. So if you can kind of mix it up, if you can get the run game established, I think it's going to help out your passing game a lot and keep us in this football game. But yeah, you can't keep losing at Gillette. You gotta win some of these primetime games. It's just they have fallen short all the time. Thanksgiving, they fell short to the Vikings, just barely. That Hunter Henry catch that wasn't a catch. Just like all these little moments in the game that you feel like it should have been a win and it wasn't.
Yeah.
We need to flip the script and have us win one of these games. So against Miami, a division opponent, you put yourself in the division race. Buffalo lost. You don't really have a ton of confidence that the Jets are going to be great long term this year, but I'm excited for this game, and hopefully we have some better health luck on our side, and it's a competitive football game, and hopefully Pats come out on top.
Yeah. Red Patriot, he thinks that this is going to be the beginning of an 8 or 9 game winning streak.
I wish I had that optimism. I really do. I really do.
That would be incredible, because you're talking about, I think after the Cowboys game, we talked about this. There's a stretch of very winnable games that you're probably going to have to make up some ground for. But if you're telling me that we win this one, beat the Jets, beat the Cowboys, and then win 4 or 5 more, it might be that year where we thought that they were probably in the playoff contention, and then they fall off a little bit in the back half of the year when they play some of the better teams. But that would be, and I think this game's more of a morale thing for the Patriots, right? They haven't gotten over the hump of winning primetime games. They've lost a bunch of big games at home recently. They've also lost to the Dolphins a lot recently. So this is kind of a game where, as a team, you go out and you win this, and you're feeling, hey, yeah, we did that. We haven't done that in a while. This is a morale booster. Hopefully that. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. That's all I got though. You got anything else?
No, I don't. I hope this is a good game for New England. I hope that we come back on here and are celebrating a win. But if not, next week it's on to the Jets in the Meadowlands, and we'll try to get a win there. So,
yeah, hopefully they can pull it off against the Dolphins. I think it's a winnable game. I think they should be in this football game. I don't think they're going to get stomped. I hope, knock on wood. But I'm just looking for a good competitive football game, and for the Patriots to pull one out. Just pull one out. I'm tired of seeing them fall short over and over again. Let's play a clean football game and see where it takes us.
Yes, please. So I don't know if we're going to be on Sunday after the game just because it's so late. So we'll probably be doing a midweek episode again. Just remember, follow us on Instagram. Both of us, our Instagrams are linked in the description below or on screen right here next to our names. So make sure you guys do that so you guys can stay up to date whenever we go live. Turn on post notifications on YouTube, subscribe, like this video, any way you can support, and use our code at Underdog Fantasy. But just excited. We still have a long season ahead of us, but you got a pretty big game this week, and excited to watch the Patriots go out again, and hopefully come out with a different outcome this time.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you guys all for tuning in, and we will see you after the Dolphins game.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.